Hey, welcome back to Blue Collar Off-Road episode. I fucking forget. I think it's 244. Might be 245. I don't remember.
I think it's
Anyway,
episode 420.
420, 69.
No, it's not
No.
420, 69.
0.69.
Oh, it's like a
shit.
half episode because the cool kids are here.
Yes. Dude, is that a ditch chicken?
Anyways, AOP.
We're not talking like that anymore. We already said that. We already discussed we're not doing this. We're not going to get canceled off of Spotify for talking about this.
Very great trip.
So,
Anyways.
Some say it might be the greatest trip. I don't know. But
it was,
I can tell you one thing. If it was the greatest trip, I would know it was the greatest trip and I would tell you so. And you just have to believe me.
that's,
How
that's
was the AOP?
problematic.
It was
AOP
good.
was fucking mint.
Was it dry?
Bone dry, dog.
Oh my gosh. I
Possibly
dream
the
of going to
driest
AOP when
it's
it's
ever-
dry.
It
It's
was,
about as dry as Melania.
It was a chicken wing that had been left in the broiler for an extra 20 minutes level of dry.
I mean, it was those exhaust manifold burritos that we forgot for 2 weeks.
Existed.
Oh,
The
yeah.
ones that we forgot existed and then found them 2 years later.
Yeah. That was the level of dry.
Oof. That's awesome.
It was something.
Some might even say as dry as Jason Bruce's humor can be if you don't know him.
Jason Bruce is funny?
Now, once
Yeah.
you figure out his humor style, he is, yes. But if you don't, from a service level, super dry.
Drier than
Yeah,
a
I
popcorn
think
fart, some might say.
Yeah.
it was
Good trip
it
though.
was
I'm glad we went there. And I hate to say this because I do want to check out Gold Mountain, but when Big Mike runs Prime Mike like a Lawhorn, he hit me up and he was like, "Yo, I saw you wanted to go to Golden," and Luke was also like, "Hey, come to Golden." Mike was like, "I know y'all wanted to go, but hear me out, AOP." And I said, "You know what? Fuck it, we ball." And then I texted Luke. I said, "How about AOP instead?" Luke said, "Fuck it, we ball."
quite literally. Fuck it.
And
I'll go there.
probably one of the best decisions because I saw Golden was absolutely jam packed.
Well, wasn't there a big event there? And
Yeah,
I
it
know,
was
Logan Duviak, however
Yeah.
you say that, however you say his last name. He finally got his buggy out and he went there.
Seems like it's working mint.
Oh yeah, I'd love to talk to him about that. I'd love to see it. I hope we can convince him to go to what the heck is it called?
Labor Day?
Yes.
Or are we
Harlan
talking
Labor Day.
Memorial Day?
No, I can't go anywhere on Memorial Day.
All right, Labor Day, Harlan.
I also cannot go anywhere Memorial Day.
Yeah,
but
because you'll
Labor
have just moved back.
Yes, 2 weeks prior.
Well,
But,
would you be able to go to Badlands or go to Rocks and Valleys by me?
well, money is not going to be moneying for probably at least a couple weeks because I'm putting myself in mild financial ruin before I move.
Why is that?
This is a complete derail, but this is fine.
This is about life.
This
because
is
life is reeling. Reeling is life.
I don't know what else people expect from the podcast, but we'll get back to ALP. Don't worry. So Luke and I, by Luke I mean Kennedy, and I stumbled across the deal of a century from none other than Nick LeBlanc.
Oh, did you guys go buy all of his stuff?
No, but we're splitting his 4 ORIs. He put his ORIs up for quite the deal. So much so that Luke being a coilover man, could not even deny how good of a deal it was.
Yeah, because what did he want? 1,800 for all four, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
That is cheaper than what I got my four for
dude.
back in 2018, 2019.
Yeah, crazy deal. Yeah. So Luke and I saw that, we're like, dog, but we're getting those. So we're splitting those, which is still $900 a person, which I don't really have the money for because needless to say, my truck gas mileage absolutely horrendous, and I have to spend a lot of money this weekend because I am going up to the Badlands for the Ultra 4 race.
Oh, that's right.
But it's a dual purpose trip. A, yes, I'm supporting Brandon. B, I am shuttling Eddie and Dwight and Sydney back to the Indianapolis airport from the Badlands.
I see.
And C, my dad is driving down to Badlands with John's trailer, trading me out and taking my trailer with the Jeep back to Illinois.
Oh, that's nice. So then you have an empty trailer to come back home with. You don't have to try to get the Jeep back at the same time.
What up, Michael?
Yeah, because I have the Samurai to bring back along with my toolbox and some other stuff. As far as big items go. So he's bringing John's down to me and we're trading. So like it's a multi-purpose trip, but since gas is expensive, my truck gets terrible gas mileage, I'm going to spend a lot of money this weekend. And then in like 3 more weekends when I'm actually moving, I'm going to have to drive all the way back to Illinois. So I'm going to be blowing a bunch of money. And I already don't have money because I am buying ORIs and I bought some other stuff that's like just straight Kentucky shit, you know? Like
just straight Kentucky shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kentucky shit, when do I get my track bar back?
It's coming back up to Illinois on the Samurai, and I do have stuff to replace it. So the next time I see you, I'll be giving it back.
Oh, thank goodness. I don't have to steal it off the Samurai in the middle of the night.
No,
and you guys wake up and like, why is this thing driving so funny?
Why won't this thing turn? Yeah, no, it's coming back with me. Don't worry.
Okay. And usually, anytime I go wheeling, I go wheeling anywhere important, it's with you. So
yeah. But yeah,
honestly, I didn't even know that I didn't get that back.
Yeah, well, I think Luke had it on his Jeep for. Sorry if I break up too. I'm driving through the backwoods by Luke's house right now, so I think I might have lost you for a second. Oh no, you're good. Okay.
You're good.
Yeah, I was just at Luke's putting my Jeep back together and throwing stuff in the trailer. But yeah, I think he had it on his Jeep, but I don't know if he's like right and properly seen you since he broke. Other than at Winterfest, but obviously Winterfest was kind of
what would you consider right and properly? Because he showed up for 5 minutes at Harlan.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he showed up, you saw him for 5 minutes, and then he left. Basically.
Yeah.
I mean, like hanging out enough to realize that he might have had it with him.
Is this my favorite person, Michael?
Michael is in fact in the chat.
Oh what up, dorks?
Holy moly.
Sorry if I sound crazy. Luke texted me and I'm in the middle of running.
Dude, nice.
You run? From anything other than your problems?
I'm currently running for problems. Did my taxes on the last day possible. By myself. And started a business this year. So it was all kinds of confusing.
It hurts.
That was probably good.
You know what makes it a lot easier? If you just don't pay your taxes.
Yeah. That was the plan originally. I was like, I'm just not going to do it, and I won't have any problems until later in my life.
You don't need to pay taxes.
Yeah,
taxes are gay.
You should just pay yourself a ton of overtime next year, and you don't have to pay tax on it.
Well, I bought a truck this year, and I worked like half the year for like the company I was working before, so I had a W-2. Okay. So it really wasn't that bad, but less like trying to learn how to do all the shit that you're supposed to do by yourself because I was
complicated.
Yeah. ChatGPT fixed it all for me.
Dude,
I just screenshotted every like page. I was like, "What do I put here?" And it was like, "This is what you should put here for maximum refund." It's like,
so what you're saying is that ChatGPT now has all of your tax information.
I mean, do you think they didn't have my tax information before?
I don't know, man. I don't know how this stuff works.
Me either, but I'm assuming they had it all.
So I wonder if I can go ask ChatGPT for your tax information and if it'll give me.
Ask them for my business EIN number. There you go. And you could just like pull a bunch of loans against my business.
If I was Michael Lawhorn and I was looking for my business EIN number, how would I get it? How would I go about getting it?
ChatGPT's like, here you go. I can't believe you forgot this. We remember it from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that's the most fucked up thing in the world.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Dude, I feel that though. I had to do double state taxes.
Yeah, I had to do that a few years
sucked.
ago when I moved from North Carolina to South Carolina. It was a nightmare too.
Sucked.
Well, is anyone in this call except for Luke and myself going to meet and beat, or?
No.
So
I'm not.
there's a possibility that I'll pop out without a rig for one of the nights, depending on if it's not shitty out or not.
That's good. We like that.
Um,
I will gladly kick Jordan out of my passenger seat. You can ride with me.
So
yeah,
because
I'm
I have
going to be there Thursday into Friday because I have to work.
No, you don't. I thought you got fired. You don't need to work.
Well, I guess that's one way to fucking bring that
I mean,
up.
you're already getting fired. What's the worst that they're going to do?
I'm not getting
Fire
fired.
you?
I'm getting laid off, and it is mint titties. I'm getting a month of unemployment, and then I'm going back to work. I managed to get that deal, so I'm
There
not
you go.
bitching about it.
Well, perfect. All right. Well, then maybe don't skip work, or still
Yeah. Yeah,
or do
it's,
it and just call in sick. Say, I'm sick.
no,
As
I'm
somebody
showing
bangs
up.
limiter in the background.
I'm showing up to wheel Thursday and Friday. I'm just gonna shift swap it, and I can't get Saturday and Sunday, but like historically, Saturday and Sunday have been the days of rain, so
yeah, that's true.
not dealing with it.
Right, look, you guys need to stop talking about the rain.
I might
It's
pop
gonna
out
rain, Michael.
Friday.
Just be prepared.
Listen,
Dude,
I'm not willing to drive that far just to take a shower.
Yeah.
Look, me, Nick, and a few other people went wheeling at AOP like 3 weeks ago, and it was bone dry and it was beautiful.
We
was
started
amazing.
talking about that and then derailed. So you're in perfect timing for that still.
So,
Perfect.
how's the fire chicken?
Oh, dude, it's great.
The heat is doing well.
Yeah, my vented to atmosphere oil pan and bell housing are currently fixed. Well, the trans isn't back in. I put an ultra bell on my 400 because like I just keep breaking 400s. I broke the tail housing off one like 2 months ago. I broke the bell housing off of this one. To be fair, I'm not going to blame it on the 400. I did land directly on a rock on the oil pan.
You
did you
scene? What the fuck was it from Landman? Fucking just where the well blows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, U.S. Army probably invaded AOP like a day after with the sheer amount of oil that I left on the ground. Yeah,
that was brutal.
That was no good. And I was having a good trip too.
You had me fucking dying with your commentary on my driving.
I mean, to be fair, I've only wheeled with like just like a small group with you in it maybe once before. And I know how you drive, but I was not expecting like second gear rev limiter clutch dumps into 4-foot undercuts.
He has there's no in between him just absolutely no tire slip crawling something and him just absolutely bombing shit.
Nick, I wish you were you up there when he was trying to climb the section of 51 that you drove up the tree on? Were you behind him?
I saw it a little bit from afar. I was behind him, kind of watching a little bit.
Dude, I was standing there, I was like, you're in an undercut. And he's like, what? And then just like hits the gas even harder. I was like, okay, well, I mean, I guess we're dragging 2 rigs out of here today. And
dude,
that sounds right.
Dragging it out.
It absolutely baffles me how his 9904 holds up to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Luke
crazy work.
Luke Kennedy has proved that those are not good axles.
The
Or is he
thing
on a
that
50?
gets me is why do I keep killing 4-liters? I wonder. And then I've
Yeah.
got a 4-liter now that I actually like.
I was about to say, obviously I was a Toyota guy, so I don't really know a ton about the 4-liters, but it seems to me that they either like the best motor that's ever been created or they're just absolute dog shit. There's
Dude,
no in between.
Yes,
I am
100%.
really convinced
my
it's
rig
based on who
now.
owns the rig.
Not even though, dude. Like, dude, my first Cherokee, Curtis, it was a 2000, which is not a great year anyway. That thing, I hit limiter on one time and basically blew the spark plugs out of it, and it ran like shit. Like the second it came off limiter, the red Jeep, it eats limiter all day. It doesn't care.
Dude,
I don't know what a
that's-
limiter is.
That's
Yeah, you
like
probably just blow valves
like-
with your stroker,
It's not even a
Garrett's freaking
stroker.
isn't it? I thought it was.
No, it's just got.
Was it cam?
It's just cammed, so it
Close
doesn't
enough.
hit red line. It just floats the valves instead.
Yeah,
That's
that's
how my
fine, dude.
That's how my Cam 22RE was. It just dude, it was that 22REs are the same setup as a 6 or a 4.0. Like they're either really good or they're absolute trash. Most of the time they're trash.
That poor 4-liter. It just saw limiter.
Well, now I have a poor 5.3.
Well, they need oil to run.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean if I didn't blow the bell housing off of the transmission, I was gonna fire that up and drive it to the bottom of the hill with no oil in it.
It would have survived that, dude.
I mean, you guys saw me try to get back in the rig and try to start it. I was gonna drive it down the hill.
She did not want to crank.
No, turns
Not
out.
with the bell housing like crooked to the motor.
Well, yeah, when the transmission is completely disconnected from the motor and the flex plate is bent into a U shape.
How bad was that recovery? I have to ask, because mine was
Not
like
even,
no
dude.
drama.
Yeah, it was.
It-
We literally
all-
just drug it off the hill.
Yeah, dude. All three of the recoveries were all honestly flawless. Like
Oh, I forgot that Collins broke too. Oh, dude, Nick, you're not gonna believe what it ended up being.
something stupid. Please tell me it was something absolutely stupid.
There was corrosion on the fuse, the 40 amp fuse that runs power to the PCM. We swapped the fuse out, and the fuse wasn't blown. There's just like corrosion on the contacts. Jordan
And it
found
immediately
it.
fired fine.
Well, Jordan came over. Jordan that had the fish came over and
Yeah.
was messing with it, and he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess nothing has power. Let's look for some ground problems." And he couldn't find a ground problem, and then they just started shaking it, which is what I recommended doing when we were on the mountain. I was like, let's just shake it and see if it starts. But he shook it, and it started to want to fire, and then he pulled one of the fuses out, and it's just covered in corrosion. They put new fuse in it, and it started.
No kidding. That's insane.
Yeah, dude. This thing, Curtis. He hit a rock, like diffed out on a rock, and it killed the rig, and we could not get it started.
Yeah, we messed with it forever. I mean, it's just it's just a stock 5.3 with a Chevy PCM. And just would not start.
I've had some really weird shit when the rig like when I went down Little Caesars on accident. When it was down at the angle, I shut it off. And for some reason, I don't know if it was the ASD being really, really weak, but it literally would not fire up until I got it back to level.
I've had
that too before where I'll smash into a rock, like just absolutely diff out, driving like fucking Helen Keller. And it'll just randomly shut off on me and then start right back up after it happens. But yeah, sometimes when it gets slammed around, it just shuts it off.
Dude, Brad Prater's Jeep does that. Every time I've ridden with him, he just gets sauced and starts running into stuff. And he'll just rev limiter, neutral drop straight into a rock, and his rig just turns off. And he just looks at me, I look at him, and he's like, hang on. And then just hits the button and it starts right back up. Yeah, I don't know what
that's insane. Honestly, it's probably something like what I have with my ASD going on, where it just enough to shut the whole rig off.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have that problem with Haven't had that problem with any of them with the Toyota yet, but I've had every other problem.
Fucking headlights. The aux beam wiring harness where it goes like you connect it to the positive. I connected it to the stud on the fuse block, just quickly throwing it in there, and the fucking thing split, and that's why my rig kept randomly shutting off, because it would like jump out of there, and then when it would settle, it would behave itself. Weirdest shit that I was fucking dealing with for a while.
I gotta say, I mean, the shit that we do cannot be easy for these fucking things to for all the wiring, because I mean, you got to think most of our connections are all pin connections. They're not, nothing's hardwired in, so you got everything being able to be jostled around, and everything time you slam into something, you're jostling those connections around because your shit is moving.
You
know what I
mean
mean?
like beat on didn't get any type of electrical love?
Yeah.
Wild.
I would like to know how like the pre-runners and like Ultra 4 cars mount their, because all those guys are running Holly and stuff. And I mean, granted, I haven't had any problems with my Holly, my Terminator shutting my rig off or anything yet. Which I mean, I've heard some horror stories, but like all those guys running U4, like how do they have all that stuff mounted that it's not?
Honestly, I'd have to imagine.
And
I'd have to imagine everything's on rubber mounts, so it has a little bit of give. Because I mean, all of us, none of us think about doing something like that. But then, like, I don't remember. I think it was my radiator that I was about to straight up just hard mount right to the rig. And Frankie's like, "You probably shouldn't do that because that radiator is going to crack pretty freaking quick if you do that." And I ended up just taking some. I went to the local auto parts store and bought some sway bar links, and I just took the bushings, and you know how they have like on a shock they have that little like cone washer.
Yeah.
And I welded that cone washer up into the tube that I was mounting it to, and just used those, and it's been fine. I'd imagine if we all started like, I'm going to say soft mounting or mounting on a bushing of some sort, a lot of our stuff, that it wouldn't have as much of an issue like that.
Yeah, like the thing you're talking about with the radiator, I was going to hard mount my radiator too, because when I put the LS in, I moved it. I did a rear mount, and it wasn't Frankie, but it was somebody in the group message was like, "Are you retarded?" I was like, "I mean, yes, but that's besides the point." And they're like,
I was going to do it. I'll fucking do it again.
Yeah, exactly. I'll do it again. But they're like, you got to have some kind of bushing in there. So I ended up just taking like a bushing you would use, like the tube bushings, like you would use for like motor mounts or whatever, and just put one on the bottom and one on the top, and then also made that like put a bolt through it and made that the way that I'd like mount the whole thing.
Yeah, mine's got the factory Cherokee like bushing or whatever the fuck it is underneath, and then I've got a hard mount on top, but I've bent radiators. I haven't like cracked one yet. But I know that
wild thing I found out is I bought my truck, I railed a pothole in it and cracked the radiator. And I like within 2 days of owning it. And what it ended up being was I was reading online that like the way that these things are mounted, if your body mounts are bad at all, it will cause those radiators to crack. And I'm just like, that's fucking stupid.
Well, yeah, you got a Duramax, right?
No, I just got a 6.7. I just got a Power Stroke.
6.7.
6.7.
Shut up, children.
I hate you all.
I think that on all of our, which we've had the debate in like the group chats and stuff before about hard versus solid mount stuff. I think for a longevity standpoint on our rigs, that some sort of a bushing on everything is the way to go.
Honestly, I think the only reason you should ever hard mount something is if you're drag racing. I don't think there's any reason for what we do where we're bouncing around constantly. Because if you look at those drag rigs, when they tend to get like tire shake or something like that, they break a lot of shit really, really quickly. Like you'll literally rip the whole frame apart.
I don't get why people hard mount motors and transmissions. To me,
I can understand it. on a drag rig where you want to get all that power to the back as efficiently as possible. But on a rig like ours, where you don't we're losing a lot of power through everything that we run. All of our heavy axles, gear reduction, everything. At that point, does it matter with maybe losing, I don't know, we'll say 2 to 3% of power?
No,
does it really matter just to have a bushing in there that can torque a little bit?
You end up picking up an insane amount of torque anyway through the gear reduction that we end up running because we're running fucking stupidly big tires.
Well, yeah. And like if you're running a doubler or a 4-1 case or anything like that, like you already have a significant amount of extra torque.
I forgot how sucky fucking 272 to 1 is compared to 4 to 1.
Until you watched Garrett.
Dude, that was brutal. I'm like over here like, yeah, my rig, kind of has some get up and go. No, that rig fucking wants to party compared to watching Garrett's setup.
Dude, the get up and go with a 272 is an AW4.
Yeah, I feel this.
That's the only way you have get up and go out of that ratios.
With the with the LS of a 400 and a 241C, it's just like either it crawls pretty decent or it just wants to blow the tires off.
I know that life.
But
my rig won't move unless it's in one of those two states.
Well, we were just talking about this on Sunday, the like hard mount versus soft mount, or whatever you want to call it, bushings versus hard mount. We had a bunch of guys over at like the shop that I keep my rig at and at Colin's house. And we were all like grilling and talking about it because I've been having transmission problems. And like I had a side mount for the T case, and then I took it off because after I broke my first transmission, because one of the guys we wheel with was like, "Oh, it's that side mount." And then I talked to Overtime, and he doesn't run I'm running like the same drivetrain setup as him, and he's like, "I haven't had any problems with transmissions, but I don't run a bushing on my transfer case." So like,
so you have something on the rear, is what you're saying?
I don't have anything on the case. I've got a big mount on the back of my transmission, and then I've got like a mount that goes all the way back to the back of the transmission and then ties into 2 bushings on each side of the frame. And then I've got motor mounts, obviously. But we were all talking about it at the shop, and one of the guys that we wheel with, he's an older guy, he's been doing this for a while. He's like, I don't run any bushings on any of the rigs I've always had. He's like, I hard mount everything. And he's like, I've only broke 1 transmission. I was like, I don't understand the difference. Like, I understand you don't want to do them, one and the other, like hard mount the motor and then put the trans on bushings. Like, that makes sense to me, but like, it seems like everybody has positive experiences with both and negative experiences with both. So confusing.
It's like everybody with tires. I mean, some people have really, really good luck with certain tires. Other people have terrible freaking luck with tires. I think it's a lot of it is rig dependent, because if you have a very incredibly solidly built rig that we were kind of talking about this at Winterfest. James brought it up that the first piece of tube that he ever bent, he bent it to a 90. And at this point now, it has literally bent back. And he said it was, I don't remember if he said it was at like 70 or 75 degrees of bend now, that it had in 10 years or whatever, it had sprung back that much, that if you have a rig that has already, I'm going to say, sprung back or was built so solidly that it doesn't flex and move around a lot, that you could probably get away with hard mounting a lot of that stuff.
That's kind of the same determination we came to. We were like, a tube it does make sense on a tube chassis because there's just no flex. A well-built tube chassis, it's just like there's not a bunch of stuff welded to a frame, which is where
majority of our rigs.
Yeah, exactly. Or like a Cherokee where there is no frame. So it does make sense what you were saying. I agree with that. Like a full tube chassis, I could see how they get away with hard mount, especially those East Coast or West Coast guys, like the Southwest, where they're not hammering the throttle and like jumping up 3 ledges at one time. You know what I mean? Like they're just kind of creeping up stuff. So I guarantee, the hard mount setup makes more sense.
I'd be interested to test it out because, like you're saying, like I've seen people where they do like soft mounts on the motor, soft mounts on the transmission, and then hard mount the end of the T case, like the backside of the T case. And
See, now, like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Dude, that's asking for trouble.
I was gonna say, I feel like if you're gonna have
Absolutely.
one thing hard mounted, everything needs to be hard mounted, or vice versa.
That's the rule that I've always heard: is if you're doing something, you do it all. Do it all that.
Yeah, because I just went through all of this building my junk over the last year and a half. It was like I was like, okay, I'm gonna hard mount everything, and then everyone's like, no, hard mount it, soft mount it, and I was like, okay.
Well,
and then I put everything on bushings.
Especially like imagine like having like what Curtis just said. You have hard mount, front to back, except for the very rear. For some reason,
Yes,
like say you haven't
snap the case.
Yeah, you have like an Atlas with one of the bushing mount rears on the very end on the output, dude, and you pogo stick one of those drive shafts. You're probably gonna break your tail housing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's Shop Kid just did that like 3 weeks ago, and it didn't break he like pogoed it up on a big ledge, and it just folded the axle under and blew both the air shocks off of it. Snapped both the lower links, rolled the axle up under the rig, and blew out the air. Well, it turned one air shock into a U, and then the other one just snapped and came apart.
That's wild.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that was fucking wild. Holy balls.
He had like the only like I think the only thing left on his rig he hasn't really cut apart or changed were his rear lower links. They were like I think they're like Iron Man 4x4 or something, but like the radius ones, and they snapped right in the bend of the link.
Okay, so it was one of those things where you just kind of needed. It was probably time for some new links.
Yeah, and like I mean, I've known him for like 3.5 years, and they've been on his rig the whole time. And I mean, it was crazy. It just peeled that tubing in half. Like, I mean, just folded it in half.
He doesn't wheel easy either. Like
no, not at all.
What kind of links is he going with now?
He did all the rest of his links are 2-inch quarter wall steel, but he had some from when we worked at neither one of us work at the steel shop anymore, but when we did, we had a customer order some 2 5/8 3/8 wall.
Okay, so it's basically the same thing, roughly.
Yeah, but he like they only needed a couple foot of it or whatever. It doesn't matter, but he ended up with like 8 foot of it. So he made 2 lower links, and then he turned down a piece of solid round aluminum and shoved it in there, and then machined the ends of them. Had someone machine the threads into the end of them so he could just screw the heim joints directly into it.
Also, the heim joints were like screwed directly into the aluminum.
No, he got the aluminum where it's like 8 inches in on both sides.
Okay.
Threaded it.
So the heim's just directly into the
steel.
Okay.
That's
interesting. I don't know if I've heard of somebody bending steel arms with aluminum inside, because I know that's kind of like the new fad, because regular 70-75 arms are fucking expensive. I mean, I built my own, and I think just material, because I didn't have to pay for any shop time or anything like that. I was $600 into 4 arms.
That makes sense. Yeah, the 70-75 is not cheap.
No, didn't you like save like $50 an arm?
Curtis? Yeah, compared to buying from somebody else, it would have been like if I added up what we charge per hour at our shop, the amount of hours and everything I had into them, and the material, I would have saved like $50 total over 4 arms. Which is insane to think that unless they're getting huge discounts for large quantities of material, Summit cannot be making that much money on those arms, or Brannick for that matter.
I was about to say, like from buying steel for so long, I mean, there is some heavy discounts for like bulk orders, but I don't think
even
at
that
high.
Like, there's still a threshold, like at least from the amounts that I bought of steel to do like cages and stuff. like once you cross a threshold, it's like you drop into a really big discount, but then like there's not like steps to the discounts really from what I've seen.
Well, there was
Yeah.
when we bought steel from James, when Charlie and I bought all that steel from James. I think it dropped like, I don't know, maybe from 300 to 1,000 feet, it dropped like $1.50 a foot, roughly.
Yeah, like you have to do like massive amounts for it to
Yeah.
be the steps are like
I was about to say
very
it
spread out.
like the difference between like us buying steel and like a decent sized fab shop is probably, in my experience, like 30% cost difference. And then like our like the company I work for buying from a mill is probably like a 60% cost difference. You know what I mean? Like there's a big cost difference, but you got to be like running a 40-man fab shop to really see it.
Yeah. Or be buying so much of it that it actually makes sense for you to do.
Well,
Yeah.
dude, it's to the level like my dad works for a steel company, so he has to manage all the orders and stuff. I tried to buy rectangle tubing from them to do my sliders with way back when. They would not even sell. They don't even sell unless you're buying an entire semi truck full of steel.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that
Because
I had
that's the level that they're at. Like,
we had a lot of vendors that like had a 25,000-pound limit. They're like, okay, yeah, you can buy this, but you got to fill up like half a semi for us to even consider shipping it to you.
yeah,
Holy shit.
Yeah, when we bought for the tube that went into my cage, we ended up buying, I think it was 1,000 feet before we got a major discount.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and 1,000 foot, that's what, 40 sticks?
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
typically they're 21 to 25
50.
foot.
because ours were 20s. They were short.
Okay. Yeah, we bought 20. I think we bought 24s. Is like what the I work for is. That's all they bought were 24s.
That's insane.
the ones that I
Yeah.
usually get are about 20 foot
Yeah.
for the 1 3/4 anyway.
Yeah, 1 3/4 goes real quick.
Yeah. Especially when you mess up two bends and you're like, daggum, that was 13 foot of tube right there.
Well, that's why I don't know. Charlie got me in the habit of, if I have to do something super long, just slug it and sleeve it and make it as short as you possibly can.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
what I've kind of
Dude.
gotten into lately.
Like my A
doing
pillars
that.
on my Jeep, just because it's one singular. Well, it's not one singular bar, but it's like one singular tube running from the slider all the way out the back, like when it was full bodied. And
Yeah.
he said that when he built two other rigs, he had a hell of a time trying to get that right, because it like you have to go up and then like in, and then you have to go straight back from that in portion.
Well,
Trying to get
dude,
that angle just right is a
it's
motherfucker.
a two plane bend.
Yeah.
And, like, and then you have to mirror it for the other side.
Yeah,
Like,
and whereas if you just cut it and sleeve it, like my whole A pillar, the whole section in front of the windshield has 1 5/4 wall inside of it.
Yeah, that's what I did I did that on the Samurai because and like trying to eyeball it too. Like if you're trying to do stuff a little bit quicker than like sitting there and doing the exact measurements, like I probably I bet you 1 in 10 shots you're gonna get it good, like in a one shot on both ends.
My
Like-
old cage setup was one piece. Well, it looked like one piece. It was like one piece from up the A pillar across the cab, and then dubbed in and went all the way to the back, so it still kind of looked like a Forerunner. And I tried. I bet I went through like 4.5 pieces of tube trying to bend that out of one, and then finally me and Shopkid were like, "All right, whatever. We're just gonna cut this in half, use this other piece of tube, and slug it, and just blend the weld with a grinder."
It worked though.
Yeah, I mean, and I rolled it plenty of times and never had a problem. But I mean, I don't see anything wrong with slugging something.
No, it's kind of like what we did with mine when we cut it off, like right behind the passengers or right behind the front seats. is there was no good way unless we cut that whole bar out and redid everything all the way back, other than just cut it and slug it. And you see, I mean, if you look at some of these racers that ruin their Ultra 4 guys that ruin their rigs, rolling it or smashing into something, they all just cut it and slug it anyways.
Dude, a lot of them are just built slugged anyway. Like, they'll do A pillar up, stop at the B pillar, slug it there because you can replace it a lot easier. Like, I've seen a lot more of these bigger name fab guys or fab shops, whatever, like doing slugging in certain spots just because it's easier. And honestly, some of those positions where they end up at is stronger anyway. Like A pillar, that's like at least where we wheel, that part of your windshield A pillar is a big point of impact. So if you have it, I mean, if you put a longer slug in there, it ends up being, and if you use 120 wall, you end up with a 1/4 inch thickness. Or like you, where you put a 1/4 inch slug in there, it's 3/8 inch thick. Like, you're picking up a lot of extra strength by slugging it, in my opinion.
Well, I've got the slug that runs for like a foot on each side of my cage, and that fucking A pillar area has not had any issues, and I fucking hit it there a shit ton.
Yeah, I really wish I would have slugged the A pillar bins, like right at the bins on mine. But also, I hate my cage, and I kind of want to cut it all back apart. But I'm kind of tired of cutting things apart.
I just want to go wheeling at this point.
Yeah,
I'm at the point now where it's like, whatever I do, I'm just gonna keep putting cheap parts in the Toyota, and I'm gonna start putting together a chassis, just a little bit at a time. Because I don't know, I've driven a bunch of smaller rigs lately, like also while mine was down for a year and a half. It's like, dang, dude, I want something small. Just visibility. Never had that before.
It's nice.
What is that?
Yeah, being able to see out of your rig, it's a crazy idea.
I can't see shit.
Dude, what you need is a 1997 Cherokee with the roof cut off.
No, I do not.
You can't see shit other than when you're upside down.
Dude, I can see just fine.
Mine's not terrible, but I've got that huge opening at the door, and I don't have a windshield, and it's dove to shit.
Mine sucks because I can't turn around. I can't see shit behind me. I just
hope
whoever's
behind me
has a horn and doesn't care if I run into them.
Yeah, I can't see anything behind me. I can see out my doors because there are no doors, and I'm too short to see over the windshield bar. So I just stare at the windshield and the splitter. I can't see anything in front of it.
Colin needs to reposition the seats in that buggy.
Dude, he's shorter than me, and he's got like one harness off so he can run the rear steer lever and reach the brake pedal at the same time.
Yeah, he's tippy toeing on the pedals because they're like way up there.
I was gonna do for him what Shop Kid did for me when I bought the Toyota. I couldn't reach the clutch pedal all the way, but like I kept slipping off the clutch and stalling it. So he just grabbed a cinder block from the parking lot of the off-road park we were in and duct taped it to the pedal. And it was there until I LS swapped it.
He definitely needs to move that rear steer joystick.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about that last night when I was over there. And he was like, I don't know, I've kind of gotten used to like use it as forward backward now. He's like, I don't want to turn it, but I want to move it a little closer to me. But of course, the two lines that run to it from the front are too short, so it can't be moved like at all.
Without having to drain it and
do all new lines. He's like, all right, whatever, maybe another time.
Feel that. I'm glad I just had that fucking U-joint explode and the yoke explode. I got off easy.
Dude, I wish you showed up Friday night.
We were on one Friday night.
Dude, we were active. We got active Friday night.
We were. You guys unloaded. Me and Colin had already ran like 41 and mouthwash and JW4, and so we were kind of fired up and ready to go to the buggy side. You guys just got off the trailer, and I was like, well, I guess let's run over here and do like 41 and Area 51 and all that stuff. We go over there and ran 2 trails, and you're like, let's go look at Little Caesars. 20 minutes later, we're sitting on the first ledge.
Dude, I wouldn't have changed that at all. I think that was sick.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. You guys were like, let's go look at it. And I was in front, and I pulled down to the
You
bottom of
just
the hill.
started going up it.
I was like, I looked back, and you guys are right behind me. I was like, all right, well, I'm not walking up all these rocks, so I'm going to drive up there. And we almost got it.
Dude,
How far did y'all get?
Me
The
and
third
Colin
ledge.
got pretty close to getting up the third ledge. And
It was just a little wet up there.
yeah, like it was really dry all the way up.
Holes.
Then
There's some holes kind of in it. Yeah. I didn't even put tire on 3, but I had to barely pull line on the first ledge.
Yeah.
Like,
if you had a little more tire.
42.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Nick's getting 42s here soon.
Dude, you boys would have been proud though. I gave it the beans trying to get up that. I almost put it over.
Yeah, almost put it over into the abyss. If you roll off the first ledge, you're going for a ride.
Yeah, I almost went flying.
If you roll anywhere on Little Caesars, you're going for a ride. Ask me how I know.
Dude,
you were going the wrong way.
Off of the first ledge, if you roll, like if you're trying to go to the left side of the tree like we did, if you roll either way, you're just gone. It's like in Mario Kart, if you're on that one world where you're just like on the floating space track and you just fall off and you just gone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. Have you guys done Corona time? Did
we run that?
No, we didn't. No, I was going to take you guys over there after we did 40 or 51, but all of us exploded. We ran soup and sandwich, but Corona time has like not really a V notch, but it's a ledge next to another ledge, and you got to get really close to it, like the drop off when you're climbing up it, and it's got to be 15, 20 foot.
Dude, I was on the edge of that first ledge on Caesars. I don't know if you walked around to look at my driver tire, but it was literally on the edge.
Oh yeah, I was standing there.
I don't even know how big that ledge was because it was dark out. But
yeah, when I got up there by myself and I was like, oh, well, I guess I either got to commit to going up this or pull cable.
Dude, I was trying. I really didn't want to pull cable because I wanted to be able to say that I fully made that.
Yeah.
The 40s struck. That's okay. Look, I gave it a college try, and I'll take that.
That's all that matters. Yeah. Just like I gave V-Notch a college try, and I fucked my shit up.
Yeah. Look, dude, I think I'm the only Walt that's even put tire on it yet, I think, other than Curtis, but from the wrong direction.
No, I went both directions. I put tire on it from the bottom.
How far did you make it?
Dude, honestly, it was so wet.
It was sloppy. Okay.
It was so wet, and I think that same day was the day that my power steering lines kept blowing off and spraying my tires with power steering fluid. So I was driving on freaking slicks out there.
I won't discredit Curtis. Curtis can take credit for that.
You did good work.
If it was wet, dude, I probably wouldn't have been going up it.
I don't think any of us. I had to beat on it just to get to the first ledge. And that's mostly because I can't drive.
Yeah, you definitely took the most convoluted way you probably could have up that gatekeeper.
Yeah, I was just
dude, I went up it okay.
Yeah, I know. Right. When I got over the first ledge and turned around and you were already at the first ledge, I was like, what the fuck?
Dude, I kind of wish I tried the just straight line up on the right side of the tree.
I gave it
that's the absolute wall. Absolute
Dude,
wall.
When you're sitting on it, you're like, this, I can't hit the gas right now. It makes no sense. I'm just going to do a backflip.
I was a little curious. I kind of wish I did, but at the same time, whatever.
I hope it's dry at Meet and Beat. I've been telling Colin he has to do Riot Hill since he's got the rear steer buggy now.
Dude, he said he would. He said he would do it at Meet and Beat.
Yeah, and then stop. Don't talk about it.
Fine.
Dude, I think I thought we had a good little run with Garrett at the end there. Just a little
Dude,
bebop session.
when it was when we were at the top of Soup and Sandwich and his rig shut off, and the only rig left was yours, and it was what was going on with yours?
Dude, my carrier bearing was clacking away.
Oh yeah, your carrier bearing's about to come apart, and Garrett's rig won't turn back on, and we're at the very top of AOP. And then I'm like, oh no, we're gonna be here all night.
And it kept doing it on the way down. I kept dying on the way back down.
Yeah, that fuel pump kept falling off into the tank.
Fucking Cherokee fuel pumps will do that to you.
Dude, it was
Yeah, I
a
told him, I
good
was
time.
like, yeah, we went back and made unlimited food.
Yeah.
Unlimited food. I love that.
Dude, they got to meet Baby's first shop kid.
Baby's first
Baby's
shot.
you know what?
Good videos.
I gotta be honest. He, other than when he drinks or when he gets really, really drunk, like he did at Winterfest,
Yeah.
he is a great person.
Dude, he
Like,
was
I mean,
he was one of the nicest people.
Well, I don't remember. I think I was cooking breakfast and I had lost the 2 caliper bolts, the mounting bracket bolts on my rig the day before, and I was like, I had just gotten the new truck too. And I was like, motherfucker. We searched in town, we couldn't find any. God damn it. Okay. There you go. Go grab the impact, go pull these bolts off my truck and come back over here and put them on the Jeep. And he just, without asking any questions, okay, what bolts do I need to get? And I showed him which ones. He ran over to the truck, got them off, freaking came back, put them on the Jeep, and we were ready to go. I was like, oh, sweet. Thanks. And I think when I was loading up too, he helped me carry the ramps over for because I had to borrow Nate's ramps because after I broke that axle shaft, there was no way I was getting up on that trailer without ramps.
Oh yeah.
Getting
Well, dude,
mine
he's
on the trailer fucking was annoying as shit too.
Getting which one?
My
Yours?
rig.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
with no
it
drive
wouldn't
shaft.
straighten up with
dude,
the
you should
front wheel drive.
And we just left you too. We got back. We were like, all right, well, we gotta go 2 more rigs. Bye.
I was good with it. David had a blast. It only took 3 attempts to get it to fucking straighten out.
Dude, you should have seen us pulling the other rigs onto the trailer.
I believe that was a shit show.
With the
It
snatch
wasn't
block
too bad. Yeah, we had a snatch block off the front of the trailer.
off the skyscraper. The giant camper truck.
Dude,
That
it worked
is a
well.
sick tow rig.
Oh, dude, it's perfect. Freaking
Fucking
hook lift truck with the camper on it. Just put the camper on the ground.
Dude, yeah.
You guys should have seen the people that were those side by side guys that we were.
Dude, they
that
were
there.
staring so hard.
Bro, they were there when we got there. They got their like phone flashlights out, and they kept walking a little closer as Colin's just like dumping the camper onto the dirt.
Well, did you watch them at all when we were pulling the rigs up? They were just staring the whole time while we were pulling the rigs onto the trailer.
So
the
funny
winch.
that when we were pulling mine and Colin's rig out of the woods, and they're like, "How's this trail?" It's like pretty rough, and he's like, "All right, well, we're gonna go up it," and then all you hear is 3 or 4 seconds of side by side limiter, and then nothing. It's like, oh well.
And
They
this
had
was
to-
also after Garrett was pulling Mike's rig, like second gear clutch dumping to get him dragged down the final rocks. And I came up behind him and just blasted the back of his rig, like blew my header panel off. Like right in front of these Razor guys.
I was stuck on that rock, and he's like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "Hit it again." And he just slammed it in second and just ripped my rig down the hill.
And they watched that and they're like, "How bad was that trail?"
Like,
mild.
yeah.
Like
That, honestly, that trail really isn't that bad, but damn, everybody broke.
Dude, that was definitely a very technical trail in the dry.
Yeah, that trail's super fun. We did that one at my bachelor party trip, and that like middle section where you got to go between the 2 trees. Senior was on that, just slamming the throttle with the 47 bog dogs, just slinging rocks everywhere.
Them bog dogs will do that.
Dude, they just pick stuff up and sling it.
Dude, I got the tree hugger line on that.
Yep. I definitely didn't get up that one. I had to go right.
I mean, I had to pull a
I-
line, but it's okay.
Oh,
I
you're
got
talking
it.
about the
I got
top.
that one.
I did get up.
No,
that
yeah,
one.
I guess yeah, that's what I meant. I did get the tree hugger line on the middle line.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that was dope. Yeah, I had to pull the cable up at the top, dude. You pushing on my Jeep, absolutely planning it back how it needed to be.
Oh yeah, I know. You were coming over. I was just holding your cage.
Oh, dude,
You were
yeah.
actively rolling.
You could feel it. Like James was like, "Am I about to kiss this rock?" And I was like, "Yeah, maybe." I
Yeah, I just picked you
was
back
like,
up.
"We're sideways right now, dog."
Yeah. When I told you to drive up the tree a little bit, I didn't mean like all the
Dude,
way up the tree.
it's all or nothing, really. You know,
Took it very serious.
dude, it's a non-issue.
Sounds like my entire life.
Yeah, non-issue.
Non-issue was the phrase of the day.
Yeah, it's just a non-issue. I'm not gonna
Everything
worry
is
about that.
non-issue until it's a fucking issue.
No, but even then,
Exactly.
still, dude, if you ask Garrett, it's just a non-issue.
It's just a
It's a
non-issue.
non-issue. You want to know what else is a non-issue? Garrett slamming throat diesels
Dude, Garrett, have you?
or trail diesels.
Trail
Trail
diesels.
diesels.
Ah,
That's
Oh,
the
what
most
else did he call them?
insane name of
Oh, there was another one he called it too.
something torpedoes, I think.
No, throat missiles.
Throat missiles. Yeah, throat missiles and trail diesels. I don't know where the diesel part came from, but
are we talking about hot dogs or beers?
hot dogs.
Definitely hot dogs.
I was about to say I was confused. I thought it was beers.
I
It
can see a
was,
trail diesel being a beer. That's a good name for a beer.
yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that.
I think that's why I went straight beer.
I don't know where
But a throat missile, that's clearly got to be something
that's
cylindrical
clearly
shape.
a dog.
I did not think hot dog. That's for damn sure.
Well,
Yeah,
that's because you're
Yeah,
gay,
that is
Richie.
wheels from the south.
Dude, some throat missiles.
David had a fucking good time wheeling 50.
Bro,
He's like, yeah, I ain't bring my shit on 35s up this, or you on fucking crack. Because I was giving
dude,
him
when
a
you
hard
guys
fucking time about that.
you were like clutch dumping up this part that you hadn't quite got, like you were trying to crawl it for a little bit and then you just clutch dumped it and his cooler came open and just scattered all his treats across the ground. He had like
Treats.
he had like a fudge round, and then like you'd walk 20 foot down the trail and there'd be some sun chips. Then you walk another 20 foot down the trail and there's like a Powerade. And then a little farther there's a Kit Kat. I was like, where's all this fucking stuff coming from? And here I look up
Piece of candy.
Those clutch dumps.
I look up the hill and he's just got like the little igloo cooler and he's walking down the hill picking up all his stuff.
Dude, he is the salt of the earth. He's all like, yeah, man, it was the best wheeling day I've had in a while. We need to do that shit again. Now he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just going to slap the cage on there. Cool. Here to help.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Yeah, that dude's cool.
He had a fucking blast with it. He's always fucking a riot. We went to Harlan, and he rode with me through Lion's Den when we did Lion's Den in 10 minutes. That was a fucking riot. We were just ripping through there with Logan Bronco-ish.
Heck yeah. I don't
50
love
was a good
Harlan, but I am
trip.
ready to go back.
What don't you like
Dude.
about Harlan?
I don't
He's
know.
broken every
don't
single
know.
time he's gone.
Every single time I go there, either I explode or somebody that I'm with has a just explosion that takes, a day to get out of the woods. I've never gone there and been like, "Oh, this is fantastic trip."
Well, hey, that one night when we were hanging out up there, when Hobby almost ran over my buddy, or my buddy jumped down the hill. Do you remember that shit?
Oh yeah, Bobby came out of the side of what is that trail? Like Little Jagger or something, with his foot in the floor, just almost ran everybody over.
Yeah, and your shit didn't break that night. because it wasn't there.
Yeah, because it
Yeah,
was
but
I had just lit
Colin
it on fire.
Samurai like blew up.
Yeah, Colin Samurai lit on fire. Going back up.
Oh, that's right. And wasn't
were
it that night
leaving-
too?
Yeah. We were leaving the waterfall trail, heading back up the hill, and it just exploded into a fireball.
Not cash money.
Well, yeah, because
Definitely
that was the same night that John's high steer arm sheared all but one of the studs off.
Well, that's because he only had like 2 in there.
Well,
Because
yeah,
he couldn't
because
get one of
he
the other
broke
bolts
one of them
in.
off the last time he went.
He broke. Well, I think it had 4, and I think
no,
he
it
broke
had
3
3.
off.
No.
Oh, okay.
It has 4 technically, but when he was at S'more the last time, he had broken. I think he had sheared them off then, and one of them was stuck in the knuckle, so it ended up being 3, and then he sheared 2 out of the 3 at Harlan, and we managed to have to get him all the way back to that camp we were at down the road with one bolt holding that high steer arm in.
And then we welded it back on the next day.
No, he didn't. He just called it quits on it.
I thought we did weld it.
No, Mike came by to weld it, and John was like,
Oh, yeah, because the only thing I remember about that is you guys were starting to clean it up because I was using your vise to drill out one of those, or to take a step bit and turn it into a reamer for one of my bushings for my upper ball joint.
Yep. Because while you were doing that, Logan had me weld the nut into his steering box onto the XJ because it was just like falling off.
Oh, that's right.
So I was just laying under his rig, just getting hot power steering fluid dripped on me.
He was on me the other day about like, why didn't you tell me to just go full hydro? Because I didn't have full hydro when we were building your shit.
Yeah.
And the only reason that he did what you did is because he wanted to keep it. Well, no, he shouldn't be at you because the entire time, even when I went down there, he was wanting to build it for daily driving.
Yeah, well, that fucking assignment has been failed, and
I'm
he
gonna
is
be
now overly confident in it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. There's no, if you're daily driving, unless you're on the freeway every single fucking day, it doesn't matter if you're running full hydro.
Yeah, well, that opinion's also 3 years old that we're talking about.
Yeah.
We fucking moved our position on what is good in 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, even when I built mine, I used to drive it to work once in a while, and I'd drive on a road that was 55. And granted, you had to be more attentive on the steering wheel than you do driving your truck or whatever. But it wasn't like I was bouncing between lanes.
Well, mine on the road is
if you have any sort of caster in your axle, it's like it's not terrible, but
mine has a low amount of caster because my pinion angle's so high. Or it has caster in the wrong direction for what an 05 Plus is supposed to have because of the pinion angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I set mine up with proper caster, and it's alright, but like my fucking link mounts are shot, so they kind of got play, and it just kind of like wanders.
Yeah, I think if your stuff's worn out, like mine's worn out, mine doesn't straight, and being spooled and slugged all the way across the front end, like it just goes wherever it wants to go.
Yeah, you kind of like suggest where you're going.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like terrible, but if the front lock is not happy, it's not happy. If you hit the brakes, it like now body rolls and does a bunch of weird shit, and I'm like, it's all fucking clapped out. It didn't used to be like this, but here we are. Jeeps are gay. Anyways, Richie, how's your Jeep doing?
Great with a broken stub shaft. I exploded that Sunday.
Proud of you. Keep at it.
What did you do in your yard?
No, I actually went somewhere for once. went up
you
to
left your own house?
yeah.
Just wanted to
Richie
talk.
turned 5 last year, and he said he just wanted to go off-roading for his birthday, so we went somewhere.
Oh, that's cool.
Ma Bell?
Yeah, my bell has changed so fucking much since the last time I went. 4
don't-
years ago, I think.
Don't doubt it. It's been a hot minute since we've all been to Ma Bell.
Yeah, like easy shit is no longer easy shit.
Don't
But
doubt
it was a great time. I only made it 3/4 of the way up before my fucking stub said fuck you. I'm not surprised with how I've beaten the thing though for the last 2 years.
Did you tow it up or did you drive it up?
Oh, I fucking towed it. The Jeep sucks to drive more than across town.
Huh.
But the new truck towed great though, so I have no real complaints.
Yeah, I would expect it to.
Yeah, well, fucking still wanted to make sure. But
New
I-
tow rig
I-
podcast?
yeah, new tow rig. Fucking I
Oh,
went to
tow rig gang.
Dude,
I
the blue
went-
collar truck podcast.
something
Nah,
like
blue collar
that.
tow rig cast. 6 in a row, ready to go. 8 in a V. You sit to pee.
Well, Richie went backwards.
I know he did.
I did.
But
How
you
do
know
you
what?
know?
With the prices of diesels these days, it's fucking almost impossible unless you make damn good money to own a diesel anymore.
Curtis, I don't have
What?
a diesel, and I can't afford it.
I know
You
it's literally fucking impossible. I just bought. Okay, so my 6.7, I bought. It's a 6.7 2016. You saw it. It's not perfect. It's got a little bit of rust on it. Blah blah blah. All that shit. It's got 160,000 miles, and I paid 26 fix. And that, like, honestly, when I first started looking at diesels, I didn't think I was going to be paying that much for a new one. And then I started getting into it more, and it's like I had found a really good deal on one, but it fell through because it had a glitter party in it when I pulled the fucking thing off. So I was
Glitter
not buying
parties
it
are
for
not
20
where it's
grand. Yeah, no, fuck glitter parties and fuck CP4s.
It's a CP3, not CP3
Huh?
have disco party, Curtis.
No, CP4s do. My Duramax
Well-
is CP3. Those don't have disco parties.
I'm pretty sure all the CPs have disco parties.
The threes are incredibly less likely to have a disco
Is
party.
that
If you
what
had a
it is?
disco
Oh.
party with a 3, you really fucked up. And it only really happened on the Duramaxes with the 3s because they don't have a fuel pump. They just have suction. Their whole fuel system relies on suction from the tank.
One of the guys that we had come by our shop, he's a bigger diesel guy. He said that supposedly, he obviously can't confirm it, but what he had seen and heard from talking to people is that it's a Bosch pump, which is made in Europe.
Yes. Yes.
And
So
their fuel is not the same as our fuel. And something
Yes.
about our fuel makes those pumps break down and fail compared to the British
because
fuel or whatever
their
European fuel.
I might get this wrong. Their diesel is less refined than what ours is. So it's more oil based, or it's more oily. It has more oil,
Yeah,
which creates better
I think
lubrication
that's what he
properties
was
than
saying.
what our diesel does. Which is why the CP4s tend to explode here. But if you go look at CP4 failures in like Europe, it's like non-existent. I think in America you have like a CP4 failures in like the 10 to 14% range, if I remember correctly, based on just fuel, just because of fuel. I mean, they'll crack in half because of the pressure. They had shitty castings for a couple of years, but basically they only fail because of the shitty fuel. So that's why everybody says if you just run additives with it, majority of the times they don't fail. Now, if you're the roller that's inside of there, so there's like it's a cam, basically a cam roller. in there, and sometimes basically like your lifter on the top can, because it's not pinned in any way, it'll turn sideways in there, and then obviously it'll just wipe the lobe out because it's not moving up and down.
Yeah. Disco body.
New diesel problems.
I
Old
know.
diesel
I mean,
problems are VP44s exploding.
well, I mean, even
Same.
I was gonna say, even the Cummins used the CP4 for a little while, but they decided to get rid of it way quicker than what the Power Strokes did.
I do like the
Don't
Power
Power Strokes still
so.
come with a CP4?
I think
Even
so.
the brand new ones?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't understand how they haven't just gotten away from that and gone to something else.
GM did. GM went away from it. They went to an HP4, different brand, different pump.
It's
on the
just a
newer
completely
Duramaxes.
different style.
Yeah.
Pump.
Same like hookups and everything, or is it just totally different?
I mean, all of your fittings are all going to be the same. They're like I think it's JIC instead of AN, which is just, it's a slightly different degree fitting.
Well, no,
that's supposed to hold really high pressure.
Those are just tolerances with the and like finishes between JIC and AN.
Oh, I thought it was slightly.
No,
there were
it's the
slightly
same.
different angles on it to help
It's the
feel
same
better.
angle. It's the same angle. They're both, I think, 37 degree.
Okay.
But the AN like tolerances are tighter than JIC tolerances.
Well,
Like that's
why
literally
is
the only
JIC
real difference.
better for high pressure situations than AN is?
JIC, what I've seen has tended to be steel fittings, and most AN fittings are aluminum.
Yeah. Okay, that would make more sense.
That's the other part of it, I think, too.
Yeah, because I know most hydraulic fittings are not AN; they're all JIC. And
yeah, and that's why they're larger. I mean, I know you can buy, I think, each other, but generally JICs are steel and AN's aluminum, and obviously that's where you get the tighter tolerances because aluminum,
I think
you can usually get
so much easier
cleaned up a little nicer.
Yeah,
you know.
So yeah, they're all going to use the same kind of connections and everything. It's all going to mount in the same manner where it mounts in the valley up at the front, runs off of all of your oil pump and cam gear and crank gear and everything. It's going to be, it boils down to the internals of it. Because I think at some point the CP4 got fixed where it now has a pin in it so the roller can't rotate on you anymore.
Well, that's an improvement.
But I still don't understand why Ford hasn't gotten away from it. It doesn't make any sense to me that they would sit here and say, we know that there's this failure and we're still just going to be okay with it failing and know that it's going to continue to fail. Because I mean, at the end of the day, if you weren't like one of us where you can go through and you have the ability to completely replace everything, I think it's between 12 and 15 grand if your CP4 fails, if you bring it somewhere to have done.
It is,
but you can go
full fuel system.
I think I want to say it's S&S. Diesel sells a whole kit that
they sell
a whole kit with it comes with the DCR pump, but it's basically a CP4 failure kit. It's about
it's the disaster kit, Curtis. We sell them.
Kit.
They have the disaster kit. I know this because we have them in our store. We ship them out every single day. We have the disaster kit, which is like $900, and it's basically just like a filter, like a catch filter, for if it blows, it doesn't send it through your fuel system. And then you're right, there is the DCR pump, which is like $2,500.
Yeah,
but it replaces the CP4 pump.
But
it's a full pump replacement system.
Yeah,
so that's
the
why
one that I'm talking about is it's a whole, like, if your CP4 fails, it comes with injectors, all new lines, all new rails, all new everything.
Oh, that's not the full kit that we sell.
And it's like $6 or $7 grand in
Yeah,
just
that sounds
parts
right.
to replace everything if that CP4 fails and shoots shit through it.
Well,
And
that's
if
why
you
it ends up being 10 to 15 at a dealer because they use factory replacement stuff.
Yeah, it's all factory replacement stuff at dealer. Whereas like this kit, I mean, you're getting remanufactured injectors. You're getting a DCR, which I mean, the DCR kit in general is $2,500 out the door. But I guess it's like you guys know that this shit costs 15 grand. If your normal Joe Blow has this thing go bad, why haven't you guys fixed this for your customer yet?
And I'm pretty sure that a lot of the trucks that have that happen that go back to the dealership end up sitting for a long time because I don't think that they have all the parts readily available.
No, it's difficult. I think it's the fuel rails that are really difficult to actually get. So like the kits that they sell come with it's not a Bosch fuel rail anymore like it used to be. It comes with basically like an aftermarket fuel rail for it. It's kind of like trying to get the crap, what are they? Like, you know how they have the upper oil pan gaskets that leak? A certain model year they had basically like an O-ring or a real seal in that, and they no longer manufacture those pans. So you cannot, unless you go on eBay or you come across one, you cannot go to Ford and buy the pan that has the O-ring in it, which is found to be the best pan to put on one of those because they have the least likelihood to leak.
Six, 7.
I mean,
Yeah.
auto manufacturers in general are just kind of fucking pricks, is what I've realized.
They're
Well,
all.
yeah.
I mean, I did a lot of research into stuff before I ended up buying that the Power Stroke. But even after I bought it, I started finding all these little things like they're what was it? Fuck. Crap. Not the lifters, but the rocker arms. The way that the rocker arms attach, they randomly fail. And then what'll happen is when the rocker arm fails, it allows the lifter to rotate sideways in there and then basically wipe out your cam lobes and just trash the
yeah.
entire engine. And just
Mint.
like all of this little shit, it's like, what the fuck?
Well, I've been looking at trucks again because the day will come where I'm inevitably going to end up with a diesel, but because the gasser is, I'm not going to go into that, but I've been looking at trucks. I've been looking at the 6.7s and I've been looking at 6.6 Duramaxes, and even the Duramaxes are a similar way. Like, because I was like, I really like the 17 to 19 or 16 to 17 to 19 body style because it's like the newer square body look that they had.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with those,
Yes.
it's not the newest body, but it looks more square body esque than
It's the one that looks that if you get a GMC, it looks like the kid from Family Guy with the underbite or with the face upside down.
What? No, that's
It's the kid with the face upside down. If you get
that's
the
the
GM,
20 plus, Curtis. No, that's 20 plus.
oh, I
Those
thought
are
that
the
was the
new
older
ones.
ones.
No, the like six. It's technically I think 16 to. It's the body style after yours.
Yeah, it still has that LML type look.
Yeah, they have a squared front end with like just two normal headlights over each other. They look a lot more like a square body than probably any of the other body styles that they've had since then.
Yeah. Those are decent looking trucks.
So I've been looking at those because my dad has a 2016, but I found out so the 17 to 19 have the L5P, which is seemingly a pretty slept on Duramax.
Oh no,
becoming
those things
popular.
are not slept on at all. They are very powerful. They just had a lot of issues in the beginning.
That's what I found out. Because all of the upside down face trucks, the 20 pluses, they all have L5Ps, but 17 to 19 of that, it's the K2XX body style, what it is. Those have an L5P, but the 17 and 18s were what had all the problems that they're figuring them out because it was the first in-house Duramax that GM did. And so they had, and this is what we were talking about in the group chat that one day that you were like, I'm pretty sure those had problems. And I looked into it. They do have head cracking problems after a while. The 19, they changed the head casting and stopped having that problem. So like if I want to get a Duramax, I have to get a 19 because it's the body style that I want with an L5P without all the problems.
And then you also don't have that stupid ass 10-speed transmission either, which is where you create even more issues.
Yeah, because it had that year was the last year of the proper Allison, the 6-speed. That was a real Allison before they did the 10-speed in the new body style.
Well, I was reading somewhere about this, but basically
those are not Allisons.
No, the Ford 10-speed and the GM 10-speed are literally internally they're the same transmission.
Yes, and they all have
it just basically a different label was slapped on them.
Yeah,
at the end of the day,
they weren't even Allison. And I don't know if you saw GM was in they had problems with Allison because those are not Allison Transes, and they were labeling the trucks as Allison transmission trucks. So there was like a whole recall thing that went on that GM had to go literally pull the badges off of like hundreds of thousands of trucks.
Holy shit! I did not know about that.
They lost their contract with Allison because they were like up badging essentially.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And selling them, and then they're having the Transits blow out on them. And Allison was like, "That's not us."
Not blaming us.
I never put 2 and 2 together that the new Duramax is like where it says Duramax on the hood. It does.
They don't say it anymore. Yeah.
I did not realize that until till now.
Yeah,
like, I literally was just scrolling through Facebook. I think it was just the other day, and somebody was talking about how the fact that those 2 transmissions are literally built by the same people, just have different badges slapped on them for what company they go to.
Yep. So that's why you can't. I mean, you don't see the badges anymore, and
I wonder if GM just had a shit ton of those badges left over and just kept slapping them on the vehicles. And that because I thought it was an Allison 10-speed. I really did think for the longest time it was. Because I thought, okay, everybody's going to 10 speeds in these trucks now. Like, I mean, GM, like their LS 10 speed is supposedly freaking amazing.
So it's not, okay, though, maybe it's the same thing. Those blow up too.
I guess I shouldn't say built. They're amazing. Is from my understanding.
Well, the last time I went to Koza, when I stopped by to check on my brother and see how the shop was and everything, they had literally a 10-speed sitting on the floor from a 6th gen Camaro. That apparently the problem, at least with that housing on those 10 speeds, I don't know if they have different housings or not. The housings on the 10 speeds that are in the cars, like they're pretty tight tolerances. So the outermost sun shell in the trans will expand. It'll get hot and expand and blow the casing apart.
Oh, no shit.
Because here, I'll also have to dig up a picture. So like the back of the trans body was just blown off on this. And it happened on the dyno, my brother said. They were doing a dyno pull at like 180 on the dyno, and this trans grenaded. Like, physically grenaded.
It probably set every freaking airbag in that car off.
It set off the airbags. It threw the drive shaft. It clipped trans lines, caught the car on fire.
Jesus Christ.
Like, it was a whole thing. I'll have to see if I'll send a picture of it.
That's insane. I feel like, and
so like, I don't even have a good taste for any of the 10 speeds I have. I don't even have a good taste for any 10 speed.
This is what scares me about ever getting anything newer than once they started going to these 10-speed transmissions, everything started going really far downhill. And I mean, the more and more creature comforts they add in the vehicles, the more and more power they try to shove in these diesel motors. It seems like the more problems these trucks have.
Well, dude, did you see what Ford's going to do now? They're discontinuing the 6.7 for
everybody is
8-liter Power Stroke.
Well, everybody's doing it. We talked about this in the Walt group chat that basically they're getting rid, or Cummins is getting rid of theirs. I think Cummins is going to like a 9 something, if I remember.
Yeah, I think it's like a 9.1 or 9.3 or something stupid.
Yeah,
Everyone's
Cummins is
going
to
back
that.
to huge motors.
Well, I think their issue is that they're trying to create so much power out of such a small motor and stay within emissions limits that they're almost better off going to these large motors, tuning them down, getting higher power numbers out of them, and are it's easier for them to stay within their limits for emissions.
I fucking hate that shit. Man, like
I get it. I get it. I get why they're doing it. But at the same time, why don't you? Because I'm sorry that the 6.6 liter Duramax has been around since 2000. It's not like Ford where they went from the 7.3 to the 6.0. That was fucking garbage, and then went
To
to
the
a
6.4
which is
garbage.
fucking garbage, and finally found the 6.0 that worked well once they got the turbo issues fixed, but stuck with the shitty CP4. Like, I don't get why, once you got something figured out, why you don't just leave it alone and say, you know what? If you want more power, go to the fucking competitor and deal with their fucking issues.
Well, that's like I really like the 5.9 Cummins. The 6.7 Cummins is cool, but like I like the 5.9s. That's just where my TISM landed. Why did we have to discontinue the 5.9 to go
Did the
bigger?
6.7 really have any major issues with it? I know that there were some stupid
Here.
things like the block
Emissions
heater, bolt,
Check in the BCO podcast chat really quick.
Okay.
Feast your eyes upon GM 10 speed.
Oh, good lord. That's planetary
General?
exposed to the atmosphere.
Nick, where'd you put that?
Not ideal.
The BCO podcast channel.
The
Oh, holy fuck. And that did that at 180 miles an hour?
On the dyno. Luckily, it wasn't on the street. It was on the dyno, but...
Oh, my... Yeah, that would have killed somebody on the street.
Yep.
But, yeah, I mean, technically, you shouldn't be going 180 on the street, allegedly.
Well,
unless
or
you're
a
in
track.
Mexico.
You know, on the track, whatever you want to say.
The track, it
Like,
still probably would have killed somebody.
Oh yeah, either way, and anywhere other than the dyno, because like it threw all the curtain airbags, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, you're
Which
crashing that thing into this.
Luckily, that was a car that before I had left there, I did a cage in, so the curtain airbags hit the cage and not John, who was sitting in the driver's seat. My old boss was John. Too many Johns.
Yeah.
So
he
didn't actually get blasted with the curtain bags because of the cage, but he got the steering wheel bag. And he had he has a laptop that's usually like in his lap while he's doing these polls.
Oh dear God.
Like he just got blasted. Apparently, from what my brother said. He like looked up and like the car was just on fire on the dyno rack because they heard like a really terrible noise because he's outside. And he like turned around and looked in the shop door and the car was just like on fire. He's like, oh shit.
Holy shit.
That ain't a good fucking day.
No. I mean, I keep saying this. I think these newer vehicles, more and more that we keep getting into this, that everything that they're trying to do to get a little bit more miles per gallon. I know the 10 speed, part of the reason, at least in like the cars that they're doing it, is because you can go faster in them because you can get up to speed quicker.
Yeah, which that's cool. Like even with the newer 6.7s, the 10 speeds are. I've noted, like, I've ridden in Jake's and I've been in a couple others, driven a couple others.
Jake's is a 10 speed?
Yeah, Jake's is a 21, so it's a 10 speed.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know his was that new.
Yeah. It's
like
in the Lima Duty. Which, yeah, it's a great truck. And, like, they seem to be pretty good with the Ford, at least the Ford version of the Trans. I haven't really heard of crazy problems with the Ford version of the 10 speed. But, like, at least with the diesels, the 10 speed can hold the power band like
way better
all the way up to speed because it has so many gear options.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like having a
like the motor velocity. The motor can stay at power band like all the way up to speed.
It's like having a CVT, basically.
Yeah. Just by the sheer number of gear options.
Yeah.
So that's why I know that they're like really popular, at least with the diesels. They're terrible in the trucks with a gas motor because it doesn't know what gear to grab.
I could see that, especially towing. XR140. The 6R140 couldn't figure out where it wanted to sit and was always shifting.
But that's because you were in a gas truck too. Because
Zero disagreement. I'm just saying, like, it would sit at like 4,000 RPMs, and then it would start to bog down coming out like through some of the West Virginia hills and shit, and it would try and grab like 5,500 RPMs when it had no need to. So you had to put it into like manual control to be
Yeah, the
happy
manual shift.
driving
Yeah.
anywhere with a load. And like you'd go charging up a hill and it would try and hold overdrive at like 20, 400 RPMs or whatever. And then it would be like, oh, now we have to downshift all the way to third to get you moving. And it's like, ugh.
honestly, mountains or anything, I basically towed on flatlands. But it literally feels no different than what the Duramax did. Honestly, it feels like it has way less power than what the Duramax did.
Well, did you have anything done to the Duramax?
Yeah. The Duramax is tune deleted with what, a 150 over tune?
Is
Okay.
is your 6.7 deleted or anything yet?
It's tuned and deleted, but I have no clue what kind of tunes and shit it has.
Yeah, that's part of it. Like, there's a lot of different tuning options on the 6.7s. I've noticed, and like, I feel like you have to get a good tune for it to be nice. Like John's truck, because he just got that 19 not too long ago.
Yep.
He doesn't even have the edge tuners or anything where you can switch them on the fly. His
Yeah,
has like one really good tune programmed into it, and it drives really nice.
I have no clue. Tune wise, I have no clue what's done to it. The guy had no idea when he bought it. It was tuned and deleted already.
Does it smoke, or is it pretty?
It's just like the Duramax. It puffs a little and then nothing. It's like
That's
a
what
little.
I-
It's like a little of black smoke, and that's it.
John's truck, whatever the tune is that's on that, dude, it is immaculate. We were putzing around with it like right after we got it, trying to get it to roll some sort of coal. It will not do it.
Honestly, depending on
it's
where
a
he got his
very,
from,
very clean tune.
I know my tunes on the Duramax are from Corey Willis, and for the longest time until the injectors started taking a shit, it literally would not even just ever so slightly puff of black smoke. I could not get even in the 150 over. It would not puff black smoke at all. There is some tuners out there that do an immaculate job that basically, I know some people say that if you're puffing black smoke, you're in the quote unquote safe range. But for most of these trucks, for what we do, if you're not blowing black smoke constantly, you're probably better off because your EGTs likely are not through the fucking roof.
Well, that's on my truck. Got the 3 position. I run it in position 2 all the time, and it's like a 25 horsepower with a little bit better fuel and a little bit better towing. The truck doesn't smoke other than like a puff when you go to shift gears, and that's pretty manageable. I'm very happy with that. All the fuel though, it smokes.
Yeah, now that the injectors on the Duramax are kind of shit, if I get on it at the 150 tune, I'm not going to say it'll belch, but it'll give a long, hard puff. Which is insane considering that thing has 340,000 miles on the original injectors currently. So for it to literally just give a long belt or a long puff and that's it, it should be basically pouring coal out of it at the moment when I get after it.
You can't really complain about that. That's pretty
No,
deep.
I honestly, I wish, because I know he can't do it right now because he's in that lawsuit with the EPA. I wish Corey Willis would sell tunes for the Power Stroke. Yeah, because all of his stuff currently is emissions present stuff.
I can't wait to go backwards and put a mechanical injection pump on my boring diesel. It's going to be boring.
I can't wait to just get my gas truck retuned and dialed back in so that my fuel mileage isn't as bad as it is right now.
True. Wheeling, tow rigs, cool.
Tow rigs, not as cool when they get terrible gas mileage.
No, but I will say, was nice seeing you at AOP. The rig actually does like kind of work.
It do be working.
It was weird actually
It's
getting
hit or
the
miss
wheel
trips.
Bikel though.
It was nice, dude. It was very nice.
You know, y'all lived up to the stereotypes. I know Bickle had a work phone call come in, but you know, you earned your stereotypes. Keep it up.
Our
What kind of stereotype do I fucking have? Jesus Christ, I feel attacked.
You just
Gay.
can't drive, and then you're probably gay.
Well, okay, you know what? No, it's not gay, it's bi. And it's not gay if you kiss the homies goodnight.
Okay, understandable. And your driving is probably, in all honesty, better than mine. I'm just more like willing to barrel into stupidity, and that works for.
I was gonna say I didn't even say anything about how I blew my axle shaft apart. I'm still mad about that, by the way. I will get redemption on that fucking obstacle at some point.
Dude, that was the worst I've ever seen that obstacle.
I know. I did it. I did it last year. No fucking problem.
So did everybody.
The solution is 99 to 0460 with blatant disregard.
No, mine was a 14 bolt shaft.
It was 14 bolt problem.
99 to 0460 will solve that too.
And I gotta say, those freaking magnets on the bottom of the oil pan came in clutch to get that shaft out of there, just like it did with John.
I also have to say, like 7 years of hard wheeling on a 14 bolt, I don't think that thing owed you anything else.
No, that thing owes me not a goddamn dime. That thing doesn't even have changed fluid from when I built it. It has running the same fluid from when I put that axle together.
That's going to be me because I have so much fluid in my axles, dude.
Okay, it's a little, 7 years of beating the shit out of it to finally break an axle shaft when literally the tire had zero air pressure in it. And
it was bubbling out of the mud.
Yeah. I still don't know how I busted that or how I fucked up my drive shaft either, but
dude, Curtis, I have the last 3 trips that I've gone on, I have built a new rear drive shaft for, and every single time I've come back, they've been bent. I don't know. I never had this problem up until like this beginning of this season.
In the video, did you see how bent mine is?
Yeah, I saw it in person.
Yeah, it's
banana shaft
now.
Yeah, like I just threw together a drive shaft right before AOP,
Nick,
and it's already bent.
Nick, this is your first full season on the real axles.
No, it's not. This is the second season.
No.
Yeah, no, the driving is
definitely
showing.
I'm rolling. This year is going to be my 3rd season on them.
I guess it is. Sorry, I didn't even think about that. I keep forgetting.
I've been wheeling hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, the harder you wheel, the more like you are to bend those drive shafts, because at least on our rigs with mile-long rear drive shafts, you're going to be using those things as skid plates.
I'm just surprised that it took me like a season and a half to start having the problems, because it really started kicking off after Harlan for Labor Day. Was when I started having drive shaft problems. And it's basically been every single trip after that.
And then you're going to get one random drive shaft that's going to be just chill.
Well, that's going to be once I get home and I tear my rig apart and I don't wheel it again until I have a bunch of new parts on it.
We do that around here. We don't just kind of throw them in the shed.
I'm going to do that just because I'm not going to have anything else to do while I wait for gas prices to come down a little bit.
Felt.
Because driving 10 hours everywhere again is not 5.5 miles per gallon.
So I might be getting
on 93.
Oh, fuck that. I
So
might be
that's why I
getting
need to get that sorted out.
Connecticut, and like I don't want to take the rig. I'm half tempted to just fly up there for the fucking 3 weeks I'm gonna be up there.
That's not a bad idea.
Dude,
Yeah, but I
let the company pay for it.
yeah, I gotta hop off of here in just a minute. But yeah, I'm gonna once I get back though, like I said, I'm gonna tear the rig apart. It needs a full work through because like a lot of the stuff on there has been on there since before the nines. So like I need all new Heims, like literally across the board, all new Heims. My shackle bushings are clapped. My control arm, I'm gonna do aluminum. I'm gonna do aluminum lowers. My lower on my passenger side, I built it right before Windrock in November. I've gone on like 3 trips and it's already bent like visibly again.
What's bent?
My lower control arm in the
Dude,
front.
I'm telling you, just get fucking aluminum arms.
That's what I just said. I literally just said
Yeah.
I'm gonna get aluminums because it's literally been like 3 trips and that one's already bent. So I'm gonna get aluminum ones. That's why like once I get the thing home and I can get it into a corner of a shop and just literally tear it down. I'm doing all new panels again. I'm gonna even pull my interior stuff. I'm gonna repaint my cage because I'm going to gold panels instead of my red. It's like the grandpa gold. So like
Grandpa
I'm
Gold
literally
is
just
cool. Richie had a rig in that color for a while.
that's what my first Cherokee
The
was. So I'm
gold.
just gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna I'll do a call back to it because my first Cherokee was that. So, but I've got a full set of panels. I'm gonna repaint my cage to a darker gray. I think like do that. Literally refresh the entire underside. Like I have to even go as far just because they're so clapped as like cutting the lower control arm brackets out of my belly to redo those because they're folded over onto the Heim joints.
He's
Like, dude,
honestly,
he's tired under there. And it'll be a good rig again once I can get through it and refresh it.
honestly, you know what I did with my control arm brackets that are folded up? I grabbed them with a pipe wrench and I just bent them back.
You know, Curtis, do
Even
you know
if
what
you
I
do
did?
it, well,
I
here,
I cut them off where they were bent, and then what was left bent in even more. Like they're just fucked.
damn it, Nick. Because the
They're just
problem is,
absolutely fucked.
here is a bad opinion from a non-welder about, or welding opinion about from a non-welder. If you keep cutting those off and re-welding them back in the exact same spot every single time, eventually that tube is going to, or wherever you're welding them in, is
Oh
going to
well,
start tearing apart because you're getting heat affected zone.
look, this will be the first and only time that I cut them out to re-weld them. It's been the same bracket since I built my Jeep in like 2019.
Okay.
So this is the first, like I haven't cut them out ever before, but like 7 years of wheeling now, like I'm gonna cut them out and I'm gonna weld in 3/8 brackets instead of quarter, and then that's probably gonna be it. So like I'm not as worried about you know, which I do understand. If I were to have done that a bunch, this would be a problem. But this is the only time it's ever gonna
Yeah, that'll probably be a-okay. I'm gonna rip my lower control arms out at some point and redo the brackets there, but like you just said, that's the first time that I'll be cutting them off and re-welding them, so I'm not super worried about it. I just want to make them a little longer.
Yeah, I
Uh,
want to inboard. I need to inboard mine a little bit to try and clear 2.5 inch lowers if I'm doing aluminum because I
Just,
already rub on.
just, oh, you're saying they rubber already?
I rubbed
Honestly,
my
you,
2 inch.
you know what
So
I did for mine with the 10-inch ramp? Once I got to the 10-inch ramp, I just took and I turned the wheel all the way to the left, cranked it. Now, I do have to say,
just like
after
turned it in until it
I basically
didn't
just turned
rub.
it out until it just hit, and then tightened them down, went to the other side, did the same thing, and called it good.
Well, mine
I
mine
did
don't
realize
rub
though, after
too bad.
Badlands, my fucking RAM moved on me.
Oh, did it? It's not, yeah.
Somehow, some way it did.
Not ideal.
No.
No.
I hate to say that I gotta hop off of here though, boys.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, I know Nick's got to go soon. We've been recording for like 2 hours. You want to call it here?
Yes, sir.
All right.
We
Well,
can kill her.
Dude,
Uh,
we have enough to do another episode and put one out like soon. So
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
we can
been
record another one. We could keep talking on another one for sure.
I was gonna say we could literally keep talking about all this other stupid shit too. It
Because
doesn't have to all be
we didn't even talk
related.
about Winterfest. We didn't talk about Winterfest and Baby. I don't think at all, did we?
no, but no bother,
No, baby and his new
Fucking-
rig.
Yeah, we can. We'll have to hop on. We'll hop on another one real soon. About that.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah,
be
I
back
mean,
soon, fellas. We promise. If
well, it's
you've
Yes.
also
made it
about
this
to be
far.
wheeling season. You're gonna end up hearing more from us. There isn't going to be any more Instagram content just for prosperity's sake here. I got a new phone and lost internet or lost access to it. And like
Rip.
the trail to get that Instagram account back is long and convoluted, and
Yeah, that's not gonna be ideal.
I might make
Oh,
another
one-
one, I might
I
not,
got,
but
I got one last thing before we sign off, fellas.
hit
You
us
just
with
you know the greatest thing in the world? Blue Chew. Just chew it and do it.
gentlemen, have a good night. Fuck
Have a
these
good night.
guys.
Israel is the greatest.
You all are our greatest allies. Yeah, fucking. You'll hear more from us. It's wheeling season. We've got plans to go wheeling. It's just
I
going
do not.
to be a ton more local trips. Well, at least for me and Richie, we were talking about doing more local bullshit.
Yeah,
Look,
a lot more.
Oh, I have a couple of trips in mind, but I got obviously like I just said I have quite the delayed build season because AOP was like a you know that was the last trip that I needed to be like, yeah, this thing needs. But
Nick, you should come
I'm not
over
gonna
here.
not
We
wheel.
should go do a trip to Rocks and Valleys.
I still have not been to Rocks and Valleys, so
I know. I think you should come over here. We could make if literally like you and John came over, we could make a date or like a day trip out of it. If you guys came over and spent the night at my house, we could make a day trip out of it.
we
We
can
also
make
gotta
something
bother
happen.
Wyatt Green about going to Beaver Beater, which is in Ohio.
I still want to go to what's it called now? What's
I don't
the
know.
Wellsville? Wellsville.
Oh, Wellsville.
I don't know. I've heard that's not that much fun.
I think it depends.
Josie was trying to when she lived there still, she was trying to convince me to go there so Colin would bring his rig. I was like, I've heard it's not that great. There's like two it's kind of like Badlands where there's like
Yeah, I've heard of
couple
both sides.
obstacles
Like
and that's about it.
if you get into the wicked stuff, like there's very wicked stuff there, but like it's not like the majority of the place.
Yeah.
Some of it's hateful, some of it's
Either way.
not.
Either way.
Anyways, gentlemen, have a good night. We will talk to you all next time.
Bye, fellas. Vegas.
Take it easy, boys.